Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs, je suis Tab, je suis en Le Mans. Or translated, some bloke at Lemons, as we might say in the UK. Decided to come out to Le Mans. If you like cars, this is the place to be. Everyone I've spoken to so far, massively into their cars. Huge convoy of people, it seems, coming over from the UK to get here. I saw an Aston Martin V600 getting on to the shuttle in Folkestone. I cannot believe it. Super rare car, super excited. So much so I caught up with the owner just to have a chat with him. But it is a phenomenal place to be. The weather is beautiful. There's blimps in the sky, helicopters buzzing everywhere. Super buzz, really. It's going to kick off in just under 2 hours or so from where we are now. So it's all going to happen. It's an insane task, 24 hours of endurance racing. I mean, if you've been on a track day before, you'll understand just how much hard work they are. But imagine 24 hours, okay, admittedly not on your own, but even shared between 3 drivers, it's quite something. Way off up there in the distance, you'll see the Dunlop Bridge. You can't see it from here, but I've got a clip I can ping to. And it's going to be great fun. They've already had some warm-up sessions. The cars sound absolutely fantastic. Mix of V8s and they had some V10s out earlier, the GT3 series, but it really good fun. Also in this video, I want to dig in a little bit to the whole Le Mans experience and what you should be considering if you want to come out here. And I think if you do want to come out here, the only way to really do it is to camp. You've got to enjoy the whole experience. It's been so much fun camping here, and I think kind of adds to the whole rawness of the event. So hopefully give you some advice on the best things to do if you want to do that, and how to get out here and where to consider, because there's so many options. So we'll cover those in a bit more detail throughout the video, but just going to have some fun, show you some clips, get out and about. Obviously plenty of footage of these amazing cars driving past. That's going to be very good fun indeed. So enjoy, and I'll catch you soon. So I've had to step away from the track for a bit because the noise is unbelievable, and I couldn't speak to you guys about the next part of this video, which is the cars at Le Mans themselves and the categories of cars. And the noise here is just unbelievable. I don't know if you can actually hear that. I'm back in the glamour of the campsite right now, just to kind of step away from the track for a bit. But you can hear some bottle smashing and some good stuff like that, but just the constant roar of the cars in the background is absolutely brilliant. And if you like the sound of petrol bubbling and crackling away, that 100 octane race fuel, then get yourself down here, because you will not be disappointed. I can thoroughly recommend it. So just wanted to talk about the series, the different categories of car in Le Mans. So at the top you have the Hyper series. Below that you have the LMP2s, nice Lambo there. You have the LMP2s, which are all the same, Gibsons this year. And then below that you have the LM GTE Pro and Amateur series. And I understand this year that Michael Fassbender, the actor, is in a Porsche. So for the sake of this video, we're going to call him Michael Fastbenz. Yes, you heard it here first. So at the top, the Hyper Series are Toyotas, out in the lead right now, 1 and 2. Understandably so. To watch these cars around the track is absolutely brilliant. They are so quick, and the fact of the matter is, they're out on the track at the same time as all the other categories. So 62 cars in Le Mans, 186 drivers, 3 drivers per car, and it just makes for some great watching, because you've got all this mess out on track at the same time. So there's overtaking happening, there's crashes and spin-offs, there's all kinds of cool stuff happening because you've got these cars all out on track at the same time. So the Hyper series at the top, the Toyota's the V6 hybrid system. They're about 1,000 brake horsepower. And then down you've got the LMP2s. I think they're...
C'est ça les 24.
C'est ça les 24,
again.
Oui, merci.
Good.
C'est bon.
Very good 24.
Merci. So, helping out a bit there. So, and then next down you've got the LMP2s, they're Gibsons, and they are probably about 600 brake horsepower or so. And then below that you've got the Pro and the Amateur series, where you've got the likes of 488s, 911 RSRs, C8s this year. And when you see them out together, you'll just get an understanding of how different the speeds of these cars are. So those hypercars flying past everything, and I'll cut some footage now to try and show just how different the cars are around the track. So obviously the Pro and Amateur, they're just not up there, obviously, because the power is sort of down on the likes of the hyper cars, and I'm sure it's just as much fun. But the key thing as to why I think the hypercars are so much faster, it's not just a power thing, it's an aero thing. Look at the aero on these cars. Those hypercars and those Gibsons, the LMP2s, they're just designed to cut through the air and all that downforce as well. So it is absolutely phenomenal to watch. And I think for those drivers, even if it was 10 drivers for 24 hours, I think 3, fair play to these guys, because it's got to be tough. If you've been out on track before, right, you know what it's like. You know just how hard it is. So props to these guys, and local time now is 8:30, and they're going to be going for another just over 18 hours or so, right, which is absolute insanity, and best of luck to them. Another little fact for you about Le Mans that I wanted to just touch on quickly here is, believe it or not, the start of this race, the drivers used to start out their cars and run to their cars, jump in and take off. And of course this would often result in lots of measures to help shave off a few seconds here and there. So essentially drivers were getting in their cars, disappearing off before putting their seatbelt on, which you can imagine nowadays. Imagine Lewis Hamilton running to his car at the start of F1, getting in it and driving off. It just would not happen. Health and safety did not exist back then. And in the 1969 Le Mans race, there was a Belgian driver called Jackie Eats, who protested against this current running to the car shenanigans that everyone enjoyed by walking very slowly to his car and purposefully putting on his seatbelt and his gear before driving off, whereas the other drivers ran to their cars, jumped in, and off they disappeared. And it was a protest at safety. And it just so happens that I think Jackie went on to win that race with his partner in the GT40 against the Porsche 908, driven by Hermans, the German, I believe. And the other thing was, on that first lap, another driver, I can't remember his name, I think it's John Wolfe, forgive me if I got that wrong. Unfortunately, on that first lap, he crashed and was killed because he didn't have his seatbelt on, hadn't yet put it on. And this protest by Jackie resulted in a complete change of those rules. So that from Le Mans 1970 onwards, it's a rolling start, as you saw today. So you can almost just can't imagine that happening by today's standards. It's probably as fun as it was to watch, but yeah, I mean, for me, it's just very impressive how that one-man protest changed everything for Le Mans. But it is it is a super impressive event. I wanted to talk as well about how you sort of do it, and here we are. I mean, if you want to look at footage of cars flying around a track, go and do that. There's probably better channels, better camera angles than I can get to today. So I just wanted to cover it from the point of view of somebody who's come down to have a bit of fun. And don't come down if you're precious about your car. There's a huge convoy of people that come over from the UK. You can see some cars there, but there's all kinds of very cool, very fancy cars. See McLarens, Lambos, Ferraris. But don't bring your car to Le Mans if you're precious about it in any way. As you can see here, there's a lot of dust. So a lot of graffiti on the cars right there. So yeah, it is just something to consider, but it is so much fun, and the only way to do it really, I think, if you're going to do Le Mans properly, is to camp. Just trying to give you an idea of the sound. And there's plenty of ways of doing it. There's different methods. You can go through an agency or get your tickets, get you a spot, and there's different levels depending on what you want to do. I've seen tiny tents, I've seen 150k motorhomes, but it's just the whole Le Mans experience. I've chatted to so many people about random car stuff, and it's been very much fun. But the best thing to do, so just some tips when you get here. So we are in probably the furthest, because we're a bit late to the party getting this booked, the furthest campsite from the racetrack. So do your research there. This campsite as well, it's kind of a bit of a free-for-all. So the pitches, as you can see, once you've got a pitch, once you get here and you get shown roughly where you should be, a lot of people will religiously mark it out with tiger tape. You can see, I don't know if you can make that over there, but they've tiger taped their little pitch and their parking spot. That's to stop people from effectively encroaching when it gets a little bit free-for-all-y in terms of the spaces. So a tip would be for you to bring your own wooden poles, get your tiger tape up, and just ensure that you can't, guy falling over there, but nobody else can sort of jump in and take your space. The camping element of it, obviously you've got to be good with that. I mean, you could go VIP and hospitality, but that's not what this is about, right? This is about that kind of raw camping fun experience and hanging out with lots of fellow petrol heads. And as I say, all kinds of fancy cars in these campsites. As I say, Lambos, Ferraris, none right here, but it's very good. And I think for me, it just adds to the enjoyment. It adds to that enjoyment of having that extra bit of fun. But you've got to be able to put up with noise, for example. So the party last night went on till about 5 AM. There was a lot of sore heads, so if you want to get some sleep, do bring earplugs. Very important. But I would thoroughly recommend, now that obviously COVID is sort of eased up a little bit and the opportunity for getting out here has opened up again. If you like cars and you live in the UK, consider getting over here, because it's actually dead easy. That getting on the shuttle, the Euro shuttle, is just so convenient, so quick. You're in France, 4.5 hour drive or so. Saw a lot of UK folk on the roads coming down through France. Saw a lot of people getting flashed as well, because the speed cameras in France are very covert, so you've got to look out for them. However, I'm not sure what kind of powers the French people have now. The French authorities have to grab us with tickets now that we've kind of exited Europe. Yeah, so another thought for consideration. But in the racetrack, there is so much activity going on. It is very, very busy. Lots of people. There's a concert on tonight. We're just about to head down and check that out. Stranglers, and it's not over yet, and the cars are still flying around, and I'm really looking forward to watching them at night. I should get some more footage of that, and we'll splice that into the video. Okay guys, morning after the night before, heading back into Le Mans right now, quite excited for it. It's crazy to think that I've had a night's sleep, not a great night's sleep due to the noise in the campsite, but I've had a night's sleep. These guys have been gunning it around the track all night. You can hear it happening all night long, flat out between 3 drivers, and I think that is absolutely commendable in terms of the effort. It is brilliant. Big queue of cars waiting to get into the free parking. Finish time is in about 4 hours or so from now, so exciting times ahead. And only 3 cars have retired, one of which is an Aston Martin, UK sad times, but only 3 have retired. So of 62 cars, That is unbelievable. Hello, and just testament to the engineering that happens, that goes into these cars, goes into making them what they are.
The race, after starting on the front row, they are taking no further part in the 90th running of the 24-hour. Within seconds ahead.
So we are now about 2 hours to go. You can probably still hear the cars whizzing around behind me, and they're still doing it. It's so impressive. I think if I had the level of skill to be able to do this and fly around a track for that long, my mind would almost certainly eventually wander towards burger, and I'd forget where I was and drift off thinking about food. So it is amazing, the admiration I've got for the ability of these guys to do this. It's just phenomenal stuff. Still flying around. It must be so hot inside the car. I don't know how they do it. But out in front at the moment, we've got the team Gazoo, the Toyota Gazoo Racing, 2 hybrid hypercars. And I wonder if those drivers are getting a little bit bored, because everything they're doing, every single lap, is exactly the same with clinical precision. No squiffs, no wriggles. It is amazing. Out in front of the LMP2s, we've got Jota, and then winning the GTE at the moment, we have Porsche GT. So it's shaping up to be quite a good race. Only 7 cars have retired, which is very impressive considering the amount of time they've been out. Those cars fully stressed for that long, and very few failures. No Corvettes though. One Corvette was crashed into, I believe, and another has had some kind of mechanical failure. So not looking good for the C8s on this one, but very impressive nonetheless. That is it. It's all finished. And Toyota, unsurprisingly, taking positions 1 and 2. If you haven't been down here, come down. If you have been down here, come again. It's been awesome, but we've got to head home now and get the tunnel. Okay, so I wanted to add this little bit on at the end on the mobile phone, quick and dirty, so excuse the quality. But just wanted to bring it home about how different the level of performance is between those categories of cars, namely the hypercar, the LMP2s, and of course the GTE, because it's quite insane. So the winning car, the Toyota, managed 380 laps in 24 hours. And it's a big old circuit, 8.5 miles. The next car down, the LMP2, the winning car there managed 369 laps, which, if you were expecting or wanting that LMP2 car to also do 380 laps, once the winning Toyota hypercar had crossed the finish line, you'd be stood there for another 40 minutes waiting for the LMP2 to do the same. And the LMP2 is a blooming quick car. 40 minutes stood there. Just goes to show how fast those hypercars really are. The next level down, the GTE, I think the fastest one there was 350 laps. So if you wanted that one to do the same laps as the hypercar, you'd be stood there for just over another 2 hours. The hypercars are that quick. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. I know there's a lot of content in there, kind of all over the place a little bit. I just wanted to get it all together. Catch you soon. See you on the next one. Bye for now.